Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dreamers and Doers Women Living Their Dreams. I'm Carolina Stevens from Journey to Empowerment. I'm a certified life mastery consultant. And this was one of my dreams to interview amazing women who are living their purpose and who are really showing up in the world and making an amazing difference. And so today I have the absolute pleasure to chat with an amazing woman who's done so much to provide support for people who often struggle to find support. And so, Angie, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you. I was so happy to be invited. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about Angie. So some years ago, Angie was making a comfortable salary as a chief financial officer of a Sedona, Arizona luxury resort company. Then an unexpected layoff prompted her to make a 180 degree career change. And so today, Angie has committed 12 of her own rental properties to Angie's House, which is low income housing for seniors, single moms, mentally ill individuals, recovering drug addicts, and recently released prisoners, and anyone in need of shelter. And so a few years ago, she even turned one of her properties into a homeless shelter, the first of its kind in the Arizona's Verde Valley.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so, Angie, I'm so inspired by the work that you're doing. And I went on your website quite a while ago and I listened to some of the testimonials of some of your tenants. It just was so heartwarming, the amazing work that you're doing, how cared for, how supported they're feeling, and as a result, how it helps them turn their lives around. So I just want to just acknowledge you for the amazing work that you're doing to, help the whole community.
Well, thank you. It's really invigorating and so worthwhile, and I get 100-fold back every day. Just to see the transformations for different people, whether it be women, men, pets even that come to stay with us with their owners. It's amazing. So I am blessed. At 24 hours a day, I'm blessed by the different individuals that come into my life, and that I'm blessed to be part of theirs.
Wow, that's so beautiful to hear. And so I would love to hear a little more about your story. So you basically had your dream job, right?
Yes.
The
Right.
financial, officer and making good salary, and then
Yes.
boom, everything changed. So what happened inside of you at that moment?
Well, what happened was, I lost my dream job, which was okay. I mean, I made great money and I was exactly where I wanted to be. But then I lost the job because two companies merged. And I did not want to move to a larger community like Phoenix because my dad was alive, my grandparents were still alive. And I wanted to be here in the community. So I decided, well, what I'll do is with my rental properties, I'll just go ahead and do some property management, a little more hands-on property management with the rental properties. But then realized that some of the tenants were able to pay the utilities, but not the rent. So then I would create little package deals. So there was one fee that they paid, which covered everything, rent, utilities, and everything. And then that worked for a while for certain individuals. And then another individual would have a job, but yet wasn't able to pay even the fixed amount. So then I realized it was a lot of possible addiction issues that were playing into that. So then I opened up one of my rental properties as a recovery home. Initially, I started as a recovery home for couples, which
Oh,
that worked for about 6 months, but there was a lot going on there that I learned. It's better for the individuals to get healing separately before they
mm,
can really, really come back together as a couple. So that's when I opened up a men's home, and then I opened up a women's home. And then slowly over the years, it's grown. Currently, right now, the population is men, women, seniors, individuals with mental illness, people who are homeless. The other one recently in the last year has actually been the workforce, the working people in the Verde Valley. Our rental crisis right now is there's not enough rental properties for people to rent. People are working, but there's no place for them to rent. So right now we do have a lot of the regular our workforce, who keep the restaurants and the hotels and everything else going. The insurance companies all going. Those are the ones that are also currently taking advantage of some of the affordable housing options that I have.
Hmm. And so how people are you housing at the moment in your own
Yeah,
property?
at any time, I'm housing between 110 and 140 people over the different area, all the different homes. I currently have 12 locations. Some of the houses are individual rooms. Some of them are communal living where there's more than one person to a room. So over the 12 different properties, there's about anywhere between 110 to 140. And I make it really easy for people to come in, even with the pandemic going on. Before I would pride myself in having them come in within an hour. Now
Oh, wow.
I have a few added steps. They have to get a COVID test at a local healthcare institution. As long as it's negative, they're able to still come in that same day. I make
Hmm.
it super easy because when you need help, you don't need to fill out an application and then hear back 3 or 4 weeks later. You need it now. You need it today. If you're struggling in a vehicle, or if you don't have a vehicle and it's either hot outside or cold outside, you need to receive the help now, not in 3 weeks when you may or may not have access to a phone, may or may not have access to the internet. So I try to
Hmm.
make it really easy for people to get in.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, what do you do if you can't house somebody? If probably my guess is more people call you than you
Yeah.
can house. What?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, we don't have the ability to possibly house a small family, because sometimes all those rooms have already been taken up. So luckily, being in the Verde Valley for as long as I've been, I do have a lot of partner agencies I'm able to refer them to, or make some contacts with other people that I might know that might be able to help them. So the one thing that's really good is they can always call, and I will say 100% of the time they always say, I'm so thankful I called, because at least you've given me either a place to stay or a place to start or other options. So sometimes it's just being the place where people will call and get some information, get the help they need just to move on to the next step.
Okay. And so, how long can people live in your housing?
The other thing I pride myself in is they can stay with us as little as a week or as long as 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 years. I've been doing this since 2000, and I do have individuals who have been with me 15 years. They always say, why would I go anywhere else? I have my cable, I have my internet, it's a good location. But I think it's also the communal part of feeling like you're part of a community. They're
Hmm.
part of the household. The people that live with them care and check on them. So I really do believe that's a real positive part that comes with living in communal supportive housing, is that community.
Yeah, that's so empowering to be surrounded by other people who are growing and who are, yeah, have a big heart and believe in you, right?
Right, right. And I also think it's really neat because we're pet friendly. And so a lot of my locations have more than one pet because we have more than one owner, and each owner might have a pet. And it amazes me because every time I will go over to a house or we have a new person moving in, I always tell them, don't worry, because the pets always get along. And inevitably they always get along, whether it be a cat and a dog, two dogs and a cat, they always get along. And I do kind of make a little joke and say, sometimes the residents don't get along as well as the pets, but the pets always get along. But it's amazing. It's almost like the pets know that this is a place where we're going to come to live together. We're going to make the best of it. And really, once the pets seem very comfortable, which they do almost immediately, the owners are happy because they want to provide, believe it or not, a nice place for their dogs to live or cat to live. And when they see that their animals, which is their family, feel safe and secure, they feel safe and secure. So it's really kind of an amazing thing that happens by being pet friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like the pets are like the intermediary that kind of facilitates everybody getting on. Yeah. And so, Angie, how do you deal with challenges? I mean, it must not be always easy. I mean, people come from traumatic backgrounds. They
Yeah.
don't always have skills to communicate. How do you deal with this? What kind of support do you provide?
Yeah. The nice thing about that is that most of my locations, I'd say half of my locations, have live-in house managers. So they actually live in the house with the rest of the residents. And that makes it nice because they're there 24/7. They can deal with anything that comes up on a moment's notice. Even something as small as not sharing a refrigerator, halfway, someone takes up more space, or something was lost and someone thinks that it may have been taken. A lot of times it really is just being heard. They just want someone to hear them. This is what's going on with me today. I feel unappreciated because I did I cleaned the bathroom 4 times this week, and then they came in and they didn't appreciate it. So it's usually just being heard. But if the house manager, on-site house manager, can't resolve it, then what we do is we actually sit down and we have small group meetings. And the way I deal with anything that comes up is I never call anything a problem. I call it a situation. And then we're going to talk about a situation, and everyone can have their input. But if they have an input, they have to come up with a solution. Now, we may not use that solution that they suggest, but someone has to come to the table with a solution. And then at the end, we all decide what we're going to use. So it's amazing how by just sitting down, listening to everyone, because everyone gets gets heard. Everyone gets heard on what's going on. Then they create what they consider a solution. And then we all collectively decide, okay, this is what we're going to do. 10, 15 minutes, what seemed to be something that wasn't, being dealt with or was growing on a day-to-day basis was resolved in 5 minutes. It's amazing. So it's a communication part, is making them feel that they're heard, making them feel that their opinion counts and their input counts. So yeah.
Yeah, giving everybody a voice, and probably a lot of the people, my guess is, it didn't come from a background where their voice was valued or heard, and
Right.
for them it must really open up so much of their own potential to be able to be in the supportive environment. Do you notice that?
It does, yes, because a lot of times, and like I said, everyone's background is different. Not very many of us come from a background, and everyone's background has learning curves. But a lot of people, when growing up, never really knew how to actually sit down and talk. It was usually any type of dispute or situation was dealt with by yelling, and who could yell higher or louder. So this is nice. It gives them a learning experience because we have little ground rules like no cross talking, no yelling. We have to keep our voices low, no curse words. But it's really neat because it puts parameters, and people are learning. And once they work within the parameters, they realize, wow, this actually worked. I actually resolved our situation. And okay, great, we're done. So it's really neat. And you're right, a lot of them have not been in that type of environment before, so it's new. But just having a little bit of a guidance that comes in to say, okay, this is how we're going to fix this, yeah, helps a lot.
Yeah, amazing work, giving them basically life skills, right?
Yeah, which does help, because in any situation, whatever, life throws at you, you have to kind of figure out, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. How am I going to go about it? And I really, if I'm going to make changes, I have to keep a cool mind, a cool head, and try to figure out how I'm going to do this. So it does. It gives them a life skill. At the moment, it might be something as small as not sharing a refrigerator shelf or parking in the person's parking spot that really you're not supposed to park there because she was there first. But it could actually, it actually folds into life as to, okay, well, I got this job, but it's all the way over here. Do I take this job? Will I have enough gas? Is my car able to make? So it kind of helps them, puts them into a thinking and planning mode, which is nice. And a lot of times they may not have had that. And they can always have someone at the house, whether it be the house manager or the other people living there, to bounce this off of. The other person might say, well, if your car breaks down, there's always a bus service you can take. So that would be a good idea to still take that job. So it's nice to have other people who are there to support you and help you through it.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of us, we take it for granted because we
Yeah.
always had it or we currently have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see what you're providing is really heartwarming. And so do you provide like actual courses, empowerment courses, or do they have training, or how do you deal with addictions and those kind
Yeah,
of
yeah. With addictions, what we do is I always hand that off to the local professionals, like our different guidance clinics that we have locally, and a lot of really good independent counselors. And that's where I hand that off, to. Luckily, all the homes are within walking distance of every sober support meeting. I mean, literally, they can get there in 5 minutes or less, which is nice. To say that we have any courses, it would be nice if we could provide some courses. But then I've always kind of in the background of my mind kind of giggled and says that we are a reality program. It's kind of like a reality. It's a real life. It's, the working and then, going and making a living, trying to figure out how we're going to fit it all in. We have to do this. We have to do that. We have to, get a job, pay our bills. So it is kind of like a reality crash course with
Mm.
some support. And what you kind of touched on a minute ago is I've been very blessed to have had a mother growing up. She's very, very supportive. And anytime I need any type of sounding board, I can give her a call, as well as I have a good circle of friends that I can give a call to for a sounding board. But what's nice is a lot of residents that I have living with me in the different homes don't have the luxury of that. So what's
Mm.
nice, because there's other residents who are going through the same thing or have 6 months before gone through it, it's nice for them to have some good solid sounding boards with someone who's been there, done that, and is willing to listen and lend an ear. So that's what makes that really nice. It's kind of neat
Mm.
how that all worked out. It's kind of like having on-site counselors without them really knowing that they're kind of like on-site. I wouldn't say counselor, on-site, kind of like life coaches, which is neat. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, amazing, amazing. I can only imagine what a big difference that is
It
to imagine
does.
somebody living for 4 or 5 years. I mean, they'd be moving up in their
Mhm,
own evolution and their own empowerment and
mhm,
self-esteem
mhm.
dramatically.
Right, right. I
And
can
so
give you,
here, well,
mhm.
sorry, you
I was going
go.
to give you an example. I had
Yeah.
with her dog, her name is Pam, and she moved in with her dog named Angel. And it was a wonderful transformation. She had been homeless um, for about a year in her car, based on her
Mm.
fixed income, that it worked for her at the moment. But it was what she later explained as a chaotic living situation. It was never like she felt secure, like she felt like she was grounded. So luckily one day she did decide to come on in and try it, and she did. She moved in, and the first 3 months she did a lot of great things. She was getting everything important in order. Well, in the third month she said, Angie, I have never gotten this much accomplished as I did in the first 3 months than I have in like 2 years. She said, it's what a difference it is to be in a home where you feel secure, where you can lay your head at night, where you're not going to worry where you're going to be parking your vehicle. You're not going to be worrying about your dog not being okay when you go. So it was amazing for her to explain how important it was for her to have a place in order for her to do her transformation and make things work and get things in order. And it was really, really, I never really thought of it the way she put it, how much she could do by just feeling safe and secure, where she could lay her head and where her dog could be safe, and how that empowered her to do this, and this continuously, for the first 3 months. It's great.
Mm.
And she's
Well,
still with
yeah.
me. Mhm.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. What a beautiful story. Because as long as we are just barely surviving and our
Mhm.
whole energy and thinking is to do with surviving and keeping
Mhm.
ourselves safe, we
Mhm.
cannot unfold ourselves and
Right.
think creatively because we're always in a stress response, right? So people
Exactly.
must come and they are starting to relax and then things are can open up.
Right. And things start to happen in a positive way. And the nice thing that I think has been really important, especially with a lot of my seniors, my women seniors, my men seniors, is they start to do more self-care. Now, when I say self-care, it can be, being good, but even so much as making sure they've made it to that doctor appointment that they put off for the last 2 years, the ailment that they have never addressed. And so it's a lot of taking care of you and your body that starts to happen, because now that becomes important, because now you're not stressed out by just living on survival mode every day. Now you're thinking ahead. Now you're wanting to live and feel good. So yes, it's a really neat transformation that they make.
Yeah, I can imagine how satisfying that must be for you to be able
Yes.
to watch this and then again, I'm just imagining how busy you must be, dealing with all
Yes.
the homes and you have your own rental properties. And so what do you do to relax and recoup, and what do you do for yourself?
For myself, well, the neat thing is that I do self-care, which is nice, and I've really started to work on that, but only in the last 3 years. I do acupuncture, which is really nice. But the one big thing that I love is I do pet rescue, and so I
Ah,
foster for the local Verde Valley Humane Society, and I even help with the Durham Humane Society. It is amazing the kind of gifts and blessings I get back by just doing that. I don't know. I never thought I would be this blessed in my life. I never did. And I knew I was going to work hard. I knew I was going to, have a pretty good life. But I never realized that going into social service type, organization and providing housing, and then, my love for animals, that it would be this good. Because sometimes I really do wake up and go, is this real? Could my life get any better? Because it's amazing. You feel good. My rescue pets, I will sometimes get mamas and then they have the little babies and then I help them raise them from newborn all the way up to 8 and 10 weeks and then they get adopted into homes. It's just amazing. It really is. And it's so it's just so rewarding. I don't know. Like I said, I feel blessed every day to still be able to do all of it.
Yeah, oh, that's so beautiful. And it's so interesting. I find this a lot that, people going through a challenge and they losing something like a job or something, and
Mhm.
they're freaking out and they don't know what's next. But often that's a catalyst that
Yeah, yeah,
catalyzes something inside of them that's seeking to emerge, and often like their life purpose comes to the fore. And so I just want to put that out there. If you're anybody going through a real struggle right now or challenge, there can be a huge gift in it. So please keep your mind open to that, and that's what Angie is demonstrating, right?
right, exactly. And it was really neat because as I was working and investing in rental properties, I bought quite a few. And then at the end, like, around 2000, when I lost my job, I would say to my mom, I don't know why I bought so many. I mean, and I would say that it would just come out. I don't know why I bought so many, because I bought quite a few. And then she now says, well, now we know. Now we know exactly why you bought so many and why you needed them. There was a bigger plan. So it's so true. It is so true. And at the time when I lost my job, I really did feel like that was almost the end of the world because I was my dream and I was living at home, close to home. But then when it was gone, you do feel, but it was a catalyst. It was exactly what needed to happen to propel me into the life that I do now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because often when we are comfortable, we
Mhm.
don't choose to step out of it and leaving a perfectly good job to do
Uh-huh.
something like you, really
Mhm.
stepping out there. And you must
Mhm.
have felt really challenged and uncomfortable at times and going like, whoa, 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 would
Mhm.
that be true?
Yes, I did feel very uncomfortable because I thought, okay, well, where am I going next? But
Yeah.
then the thing that I do is I love to fix things, which I don't know if it's just in my nature, but I like to find a problem or a situation and fix it. And then I love when someone tells me, "Oh, it's not going to work." That even encourages me more to fix it because I know it can be done. And I always say, and I pride myself in saying, it just takes one person to make a change, and it really does, because just one person decided, okay, let's do something different with housing, and we can make it work. I was told by many of my real estate acquaintances that, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, but I said, yes, it will. It's going to work. And it did. So it's just like, like you say, you just have to take a leap of faith and do it and know it's going to work. And it does. And I can't tell you how many blessings I've had. People I come in contact, the residents I come in contact. I learn from them every day. I learn from them all the time.
Yeah, I can only imagine the pivot you made, and to from a really comfortable life to moving into building something that you had no idea how it was going to come together. And
Right.
also that's our dreams, we don't
Mhm.
see every single step that is going to make it happen. That's
Mhm.
where we trust and take one step at a
Mhm.
time, and then it leads to the next and to the next. So yeah, you're a true dream builder, and you didn't let anybody else's opinions deter you. And this is again for our viewers. You may have a dream right now, something that you would love, and take a leaf out of Angie's book. Here were all those people telling her, "No, this is not going to work," and she just went one step at a time, and boom! And now it's this amazing service.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing I like to say, and I heard this probably about 5 years ago, it's your dream, not theirs. And so always remember that whatever you want to do is your dream. It's not their dream. It's your dream. So that's, like I said, 5 years ago I heard, and I couldn't even give credit to who's heard say it, but it's so true. It's our dream, and this is why it'll work because it's our dream.
Okay, what a beautiful affirmation for anybody listening. It's your dream, and their dream is there for a reason. It's being given
Mhm.
to you, and so it's going to work. So,
Yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I just want to go back to homelessness because this is such a big issue, not only in the
Yeah,
US,
well,
but
so locally, we don't have enough housing. We don't have
okay.
enough affordable housing. So what that tends to cause, it causes homelessness. So people can have an income, like a lot of my seniors or people on fixed incomes have an income, but the income is so far below what the rental rates are, the current rental rates are. So that in turn causes homelessness because they have income, but they can't afford to rent a place. That would be a huge thing, and it's providing affordable housing locally. Uh, Currently, there are some subsidized housing apartment complexes here in the area. However, the waiting list is anywhere from 6 months to 2.5 years.
Mm.
So, and like I touched on, when someone needs housing, they don't need it 2.5 years later. They need something now. The other thing I also wanted to add was the subsidized housing is great, and I know there's a process for them to get into the subsidized housing. Like I said, 6 months to 2.5 years. But there also has to be a small concentration on what happens between homelessness and the affordable subsidized housing. There's the big um, hole, and that's where I currently I fill it, but I couldn't have enough houses to fill it. It's where the people go from the homelessness before they get into the subsidized affordable housing. That's what needs to be addressed. It's that big gap. 6 months is long enough, but 2.5 years of being homeless, that's too long. So there has to be maybe some localized funding. More homes would be great. So if anyone wants to donate a 6-bedroom home, we already have a system set up that really fully does work, and we apply our system and it works. It's just having the places and the locations to be able to provide the individuals. And here, because a lot of individuals sometimes are told, well, move to Phoenix, move out of town.
Well, how else can we support you, Angie, and your
Yeah,
services?
any type of household item is always welcome because we basically are furnishing homes and bedrooms, so it's kitchen, things like anyone who has household items that they'd like to donate, we'd be more than happy to take those. Twin size beds, linens, kitchenware, dishes, all that stuff would be greatly appreciated because
Okay,
we
awesome. And how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, it's easy. They just literally give me a call on my cell number, the 928-301-2169, and we can connect and we can either pick up or they can drop off, and works great.
And so, yeah, so it's Angie's House. That's your website, angieshouse.az.com.
Yes.
If somebody
And
wants to
then,
find out more.
right. And then, like I said, they can always give me a call. Items are tax deductible, so they can get a tax receipt form. They can take to their, tax accountant. So, anything that they would need if they want to donate something, they would get the documentation in return.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I'm hoping many of our listeners are going to yeah, take the time to have a look on your website and support this amazing cause. And so another question that's coming up for me is can you go into other cities and teach people what you do?
Mhm.
Have you been
Yeah,
asked that before?
yeah, I think it's a really neat platform. And the one other thing I wanted to add is that we are AZ tax credit accredited. So, Arizona tax credit, we qualify for that, 400 for single and 800 for married couples. And that we're all tax deductible through the Arizona state tax credit. But yes, it's really nice. I was very honored to be asked by the Hope House, which is a local uh, organization in Sedona that is also trying to develop some transitional housing for the homeless. And I was so honored 2 years ago when they said, hey, Angie, you've done this. We don't want to recreate the wheel. Tell us what you've done so we can start. And they did, and it was great. We had a couple of roundtable meetings, and they really did. They really did take to heart a lot of the things that I had created over the years that worked, that were really cost effective. Because when you're creating something, you really can't create something that's going to cost a lot. You have to be
Mhm.
creative and innovative and do things that may not cost a lot of money, but actually work. So it was kind of neat. But yeah, I do agree. And my model can be done anywhere. And it doesn't take a lot of funding nor um, legal loopholes to jump through. It just takes some dedicated individuals that want to do it and are willing to, to be there and see it through. So yeah. Very good point.
Yeah, it sounds like here's a solution for this really global problem that we are facing and not really having found a solution for. So, yeah, I really would love for more people to know about the amazing work that you do, Angie. And so, is there anything else that you want to share before we bring it in for landing?
Other than like what you touched on just now, it's really simple. The housing situation can be solved by just a few individuals, even just one person, making the time and taking the time and energy to do it. With residential homes, it doesn't have to be this huge 4-story homeless shelter. Not to say that those aren't great and needed, but you can start making a difference in your community by converting a residential home to help some of the homeless get back on their feet and get, because they are wanting to be productive members of society. They want to get back into, in fact, I can't tell you how many people have told me when I pick them up or I'm driving them to a location, Angie, I had a life before this. Everyone has a life. It's just
Mm.
you never really know the different things they've done until you actually sit down and talk with them. So homelessness can happen to anyone and it can be done anywhere. And I think the solution is simple because you can make a difference with just in your community with residential homes. So if you have any questions or you want some input, I'd be more than happy to talk with any of you at 928-301-2169.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Angie. That's so encouraging and so hopeful because often we see homeless people standing and sitting around and you kind of feel helpless. What do I do? What can I do? And so you actually lay down a path that we
Mhm.
can follow. And if anybody feels inspired, maybe it's your dream to help
Mhm.
alleviate homelessness and help people out in that way. So, yeah,
Yeah.
please get in touch with Angie.
Yes, thank you. And thanks,
Yeah.
Caroline, for asking me to come on. I really, really appreciate that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here, Angie, and yeah, sharing all your wisdom also in terms of how you built your dreams and all. It's just so refreshing, so
Mhm.
powerful, to actually live life fully, overcome hurdles, and just keep moving forward. So, and then the reward is this feeling of gratitude and feeling so blessed, like you
Yes,
are sharing with us.
yes, it's wonderful.
Yeah. So thank you again so much, Angie, and thank you to all our viewers. And if you're listening to the recording, and yeah, I mean, I would love to encourage you if you have a dream, something that you would love to see come into fruition, to just think about how can you take one step today. Because when we feel inspired, we just listen to Angie and we feel inspired. But if we don't do anything, it'll just fizzle out. And so I encourage you, just think of one step that you can take towards your dream today. And so I look forward to seeing you again next week for another amazing episode of Dreamers and Doers. Thank you for being here.